This is Story Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain an action, mystery, and sci-fi film called The Maze Runner. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. A young man wakes up in a lift that speeds up, then abruptly halts. A group of other young men opens the lift, and Gali shoves the new guy out. The group gathers around him, but he runs. Before reaching far, he trips and realizes that the entire area is walled off. The newbie is then imprisoned, but Albie quickly frees him. Albie asks him who he is, but the young man has no memories. Albie tells him it's normal since everyone had no memories upon arriving. Albie shows him around the glade, explaining how all the young men, known as gladers, work together in growing food and building shelters. The lift where he came from, known as the box, is sent to them once a month to deliver anything else they need, plus a new group member. However, none of them know who sent them there. Albie introduces him to Newt, his second in command. The new guy notices an opening on the wall, so Albie explains that going beyond the walls is prohibited. Later, Chuck helps the newbie set up a place to sleep. When the newbie goes to the door, Chuck stresses that they can't go in. Minho and Ben come out from the wall, so Chuck clarifies that no one but the runners is allowed. This piques the newbie's curiosity, but Gali shoves him out of the way. The rest gather as the newbie panics. Suddenly, something moves ominously inside the walls before it closes. That evening, Newt explains to the newbie that the runners have been mapping the maze for 3 years to find a way out. Newt points out a subtle sound that echoes around them, noting that it's the maze that's constantly changing. Only the strongest and fastest gladers can be runners, since no one's ever survived getting stuck through the night inside the maze. Newt claims that there are things called the Grievers that kill whoever gets stuck in the maze. Later, the newbie declares that he wants to be a runner. Suddenly, Gali challenges the newbie to spar. At first, Gali easily defeats and taunts him, but the newbie eventually uses Gali's strength against him. Pissed, Gali swipes the newbie's legs, causing him to fall and hit his head. Suddenly, the newbie remembers that his name is Thomas. The gladers celebrate and welcome him to the group, even Gali. Their celebration is cut when something wails in the distance. Gali notes that it was a griever, which luckily cannot get past the walls. When Thomas sleeps, he gets flashes of memories, including the faces of doctors and a young woman. In the morning, Albie takes him for a walk. Albie notes that it wasn't always as peaceful in the glade. Others died due to fear, so they established order to maintain peace. Albie notes that Thomas is curious, unlike the others, but he still has to follow the rules. Albie then shows him the wall where everyone's names are carved, including those who died. Thomas adds his name on the wall. Later, Thomas helps with farming while coming up with ways to escape. Everything Thomas comes up with has already been tried and failed. Thomas then heads to the woods, but Ben suddenly appears and jumps on him. Ben accuses him of doing something to them and tries to choke him. Thomas grabs an animal bone and slams it on Ben's head to escape. He then runs back to the glade, and Newt swings a shovel on Ben's face. Thomas explains that Ben just attacked him out of nowhere. The others pin Ben on the ground and lift his shirt, showing an infected wound. Albie explains that Ben was stung by a griever, causing him to be afflicted with the changing. Albie asks what Ben said to Thomas, and he admits that Ben claims everything is Thomas's fault. Near nightfall, the gladers force Ben back into the maze. Ben tries to escape as the walls slowly close, but the gladers push him in. Soon, Ben has no choice but to go. That evening, Thomas dreams about a laboratory and a scientist who assures him that wicked is good. He sees the young woman's face again, and she promises him that everything will change. Thomas wakes up and finds Minho and Albie heading inside the maze. Thomas wonders why Albie went in since he's not a runner. Newt assumes that Albie wanted to track down where Ben was stung. Newt insists that they'll all trust Albie since he was the first one who arrived at the glade and helped everyone who came in after. The gladers wait for them to return near nightfall, but the doors soon start closing. Suddenly, they spot Minho carrying an injured Albie. Everyone screams for him to cross, without Albie, but with the doors nearly closed, Minho is still far behind. Thomas impulsively slips inside and makes it to the other side just as the doors close. Thomas checks on Albie, who got stung. Suddenly, the grievers wail in the distance, and the walls start to move. Minho gets up to leave, but Thomas insists on not leaving Albie. The two traverse the maze while carrying Albie, but grievers soon get close. Thomas notices vines on the wall, so they hoist Albie to hide him. Minho notices a griever close by, so he panics and runs. Thomas struggles to hold Albie's weight by himself, so he hides inside the vines. He sees the griever's mechanical legs as it passes by him. When the coast is clear, Thomas ties the vines to keep Albie in place. Then, he hides as the griever returns. Thomas backs away, but steps on slime. Above him, he finds the griever dropping close to him. Thomas runs as the griever chases him, but he ends up on a dead end. With the griever lunging at him, Thomas climbs some vines and gets on top of the lower walls. The griever also climbs and chases him, so Thomas throws himself onto another wall and grabs the vines. The griever follows, causing the vines to collapse. The griever gets stuck on the vines, and Minho finally finds Thomas. They find a wall closing, so they hurry inside to put the wall between them and the griever. Thomas hangs back and waits for the griever to get close. Thomas enters the wall, barely making it to the other side before it closes. The next day, the maze opens, and to everyone's surprise, they see Minho and Thomas carrying Albie back. Minho announces that Thomas killed a griever. At the council hall, Gally highlights that Thomas broke the rules. Although Thomas saved Albie and Minho, killing a griever could spell trouble. Gally suggests punishing Thomas, but Minho wants to recruit him as a runner. Suddenly, they hear movement outside. The box is being lifted back up out of the usual schedule. When they open it, they see a young woman inside with a note in her hand that says, "She's the last one." She suddenly wakes up and gasps Thomas's name before passing out. Newt asks if Thomas knows her, but he claims that he doesn't. The others get nervous with the idea that the box won't be transporting more supplies. Thomas decides to go back to the maze, but Minho stops him. Thomas points out that they've never captured or killed a griever before, so they should investigate what they're up against. After much thought, Minho brings more people to help them. The group heads to where they left the griever's body. They then pull out the leg, which comes apart. Minho finds a device hidden inside its flesh and sees the number 7 on it and the label WCKD. They bring the device back to the others, and Thomas urges everyone to go back to figure out how to escape. Gally is against breaking the rules, so he stresses that Thomas should be punished. Finally, Newt decides that Thomas will spend the night in the pit as punishment, but he still officially promotes him into a runner. Minho takes Thomas to the runner's cabin, where they built a map of the maze. He reveals that they've already mapped the entire maze, but there's no way out. Albie decided not to tell the rest to maintain hope, but now Minho believes they have a chance. The maze is divided into 8 sections, marked by numbers. Every time the maze changes, it opens one section in a specific pattern. Section 7 was open while they were inside. Therefore, it's where the griever they killed probably came from. Finally, the girl wakes up, but has climbed the watchtower and throws rocks at the gladers. Thomas gets her to stop, so he climbs up the tower. When he gets there, he finds the girl holding a knife. He calms her down, and she reveals her name is Teresa. When he introduces himself, Teresa claims that she doesn't remember him. Later, Thomas recounts that she came with the note, and the box hasn't been lowered since. Teresa recalls being in the water, being watched over by people, and a woman that mentions wicked is good. Thomas admits that he had similar dreams and saw her face in them. They wonder why they're the only ones with other memories other than their names. Teresa reveals 2 syringes that she found in her pocket with the label WCKD. Thomas figures that it's what wicked means. That evening, Thomas suggests injecting Albie with one of the syringes. Albie starts fighting back, so Teresa injects him while the others hold him down. Immediately, Albie loses consciousness. Gally then takes Thomas to the pit. Thomas asks why Gally hates him, and he explains that everything started falling apart after he arrived. Soon, Chuck brings food to Thomas while he's in the pit. Chuck shows him a small toy that he believes was from his parents, though he isn't sure. Thomas assures Chuck that they'll find a way out. Chuck then gives him the toy and says that though he can't remember his parents, he hopes that Thomas will find them and give it to them. However, Thomas gives it back to him and promises to help everyone escape so Chuck can give it to his parents instead. By sunrise, Minho and Thomas run to the inner ring of the maze and find that Section 7 is open again, though it's not supposed to be. Inside, they find metal structures they call blades, along with Ben's discarded clothes. Suddenly, the device they pulled from the Griever beeps. They follow where the beeps grow faster until they reach an area that even Minho doesn't recognize. When they reach a dead end, the beeping stops, and the number on the screen turns green. Suddenly, the walls open a path, and they walk inside. They reach a tunnel where the red light scans them. Something moves close by, so the two run away. Outside, the blades start moving, so they hurry out of the maze. More walls emerge from the ground, closing off the section. Minho and Thomas enter into a path just before it closes. Finally, they return to the glade and announce that they found a new passage that could be a way out. Minho assumes that the passage is where the Grievers go in the day, but Gally stresses that they could end up facing dozens of Grievers inside. Thomas and Gally argue until Teresa announces that Albie is awake. They check on Albie, and Thomas encourages him that they can finally get out, but Albie claims they won't let them. He remembers everything and tells Thomas that he was always their favorite. A commotion outside gets everyone's attention. The doors to the maze aren't closing, and instead, more doors are opening around the glade. Grievers emerge, so everyone runs for cover. Thomas and a few others hide in the field, but one gets taken by a Griever. Thomas leads everyone into the village, while Gally takes a few people inside the box. The Grievers kill many of the Gladers and destroy their camp. When one blocks their way, Teresa throws a lantern, burning the creature. Still, the Griever pursues them. Albie collapses, so Thomas stands between him and a Griever. Suddenly, Newt and a few others throw spears at the monster and guide the group into the council hall. The Gladers keep quiet as the Griever climbs over the structure. The Griever destroys the roof and takes one of them. Chuck gets taken, but Thomas and Minho grab him. Albie hacks at the Griever until its arm breaks and pulls away. However, Albie is caught by another Griever. Thomas grabs him, and Albie tells him to get the rest out before he's taken. Suddenly, the Grievers disappear. Gally arrives and punches Thomas, accusing him of causing everything. Gally reminds everyone that Albie said Thomas is one of the people who sent them there. Convinced that Gally's right, Thomas grabs the stinger that Albie cut off from the Griever and stabs himself. He soon loses consciousness. Thomas dreams about a facility and sees that many of them were there when they were younger. He saw the Gladers inside tanks while being monitored by the scientist. When he wakes up, he and Teresa are inside the pit. Newt explains that Gally has taken over and insists that anyone who doesn't join him will be banished into the maze with Thomas. Thomas reveals that he remembers that the glade is a test that began when they were kids. They were experimented on until they started disappearing one at a time. Thomas confesses that he and Teresa worked for the people that put them there, although he's uncertain why he and Teresa were sent there. Newt encourages him that what's important is what they could do now. He urges Thomas to finish what he started, so Albie wouldn't have died for nothing. Later, Thomas and Teresa are taken to the door. A few are still hesitant about banishing them, wondering if Thomas could help them escape. However, Gally insists that they don't need to risk their lives to leave. Gally then reveals that he doesn't intend to banish Thomas and Teresa. Instead, he's offering them to the Grievers. Teresa is tied to a pole, but when the others hoist Thomas up, he attacks them. Minho, Newt, and Chuck join them in holding off Gally. Thomas offers the others to join him, stressing that he'd rather risk his life than be a prisoner in the glade. Some Gladers are convinced, and Thomas offers Gally to join them, but he merely tells them good luck. The group heads inside the maze, and Thomas leads them to the tunnel at Section 7. The group fights off a Griever with spears, but one gets tossed over. Teresa slashes at the Griever, accidentally causing Chuck to drop the device. Chuck leaps over and grabs it, but finds another Griever climbing up. The others throw the Griever off the bridge, but two more emerge. Chuck and Teresa open the tunnel while the others fight the Grievers. At the end of the tunnel, Teresa activates a security code and asks Thomas for the code. Thomas asks Minho for the sequence in which the maze sections open up. Suddenly, a griever drops on Minho, so another glader stabs the monster in the face. The griever bites the glader and drags him away. Minho shouts the sequence, so Teresa uses the code to open the door. Suddenly, the walls to the path close, crushing the grievers inside. A door opens inside the tunnel, and the survivors enter. They head inside another room and find the scientists dead. They reach the surveillance room and see monitors that show the glade. Thomas activates a video clip where Dr. Ava Page introduces herself as the Director of Operations for the World Catastrophe Kill Zone Department. She congratulates the viewer for completing the maze trials. She recounts that the sun has scorched the earth, killing billions to fire and famine. Soon, a deadly virus known as the flare turned the survivors rabid. However, the new generation appeared to be immune to the virus. The scientists placed the young men into the glade to study their brain activity under harsh environments to formulate a cure. Ava stresses that not everyone agrees to the experiment. Soldiers begin storming in behind her as she assures them that their experiments were for the common good. After the video, Thomas finds her body in another room behind them. Another door opens, but everyone hesitates. Suddenly, Gally appears, but he's been stung. Gally aims a gun at Thomas and asserts that they belong to the maze. He pulls the trigger, and Chuck pushes Thomas out of the way while Minho launches a spear at Gally. Gally dies, but Chuck is shot. Chuck gives the toy back to Thomas, thanking him for giving him a chance. Chuck soon passes away, and Thomas weeps. Armed people storm in and take them outside. Thomas finds himself in a desert and thrown inside a helicopter with the others. The people assure them that they're safe as the helicopter flies over the maze. With them away, Ava holds a meeting with the people from WCKD. She wipes the fake blood from her forehead and announces that the maze trial was successful. The group can now proceed to phase 2.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.